It is indeed a pleasure to have this privilege to play. It is indeed a pleasure to have this privilege to play here for you. We intend to give you a very fine program, so just settle back, relax, and enjoy the moment.
Good morning. Mic check. If you're watching on YouTube, don't mind the title of the video. Something went a little nutty, but good morning. If you're watching on YouTube live, I'll fix it. Who that? John Flood. What up, D Bartlett on Twitch? If you're watching on Facebook, good morning. Good morning. Hey. Sorry for that. Like, as soon as I hit the live button, for some reason, things do a little, you know how it is. Y'all know what time it is. What's up, Whiskey Knee? What's up, Justin? Shout out to new followers. I see Cousin Kazimbi's following on Twitch now. Hopefully you're tuning in. Is it Australia Fuega? I like that name. What's that? Starfire? Like that. Good morning. Not the most exciting, or like, it really makes my stomach literally, like, I have like a reaction to y'all. Give me a thumbs up. Y'all make sure I'm good. I look like, okay, I got captions on Facebook, so that means I'm good to go. But y'all give me a thumbs up and y'all let me know I'm coming in clear. Anyway, but today, because of what was included in the Sunday paper here in Charleston in the Post and Courier, y'all know I am a fan of, well, you should know, I'm a fan of the reporting of Avery Wilkes. I think that there has been, oh wow, this is so serendipitous. I've been, whatever, I've been really like hankering or hunger, like there's a hunger for, or I've had a hunger for more investigative reporting here in either the Low Country or in South Carolina. Like, it just seems as if there wasn't enough of investigative reporting efforts being launched from not just our area newspapers, but from others. But there have been people who have been doing great work and great investigative journalism, and Avery Wilkes is just one of those names. So while I still will definitely, give Post and Courier all the smoke. Good morning, Meg. Good morning, Nicole. The thing is that you can't ignore that there are so many quality reporters that, well, you know what? They lost a lot. Post and Courier lost a lot of like award-winning journalists. A lot. Like I know I sound like a kid, like a lot, like totally a lot. No, but they've seriously lost a lot, and I've had my thoughts on that, and maybe we'll have a show about that, because it actually dovetails into what I create here, what I'm trying to carve out, at least the lane I'm trying to carve out here with these daily live streams using Twitch, and hopefully, that'll grow and all that jazz. But in terms of like legacy media and how it's changing, you just can't ignore the trends, and not just specifically with traditional news reporting, but all types of media. So that's one thing. But anyway, we're talking about the, unfortunately, back to my original point, talking about the insurrection that took place, or rather the Capitol riots that took place on January 6th. Last week, it was an anniversary, I guess. Not an anniversary, but it's the 6-month mark. And there was a lot of news coverage, national news coverage dedicated to that 6-month mark. And then you had CPAC this week, and so you saw I don't want to call him former anything, but you saw the son of a Klansman, Donald Trump. He's been coming out more and more lately, right? The son of a Klansman's been coming out more and more, and of course he made headlines again. That's what he's good at doing, but he's just striking all the old note, like it's just the greatest hits, right? But so the 6-month mark plus Trump's semi-reemergence, because he never really left, Trump's reemergence, and a whole bunch of things that are happening here in South Carolina. We've got the Proud Boy co-conspirators, or Proud Boy wannabes here, but they're white nationalists, they're white supremacists we have our faction of white supremacists and white nationalists kind of doing that thing that they always do. They're like really scuzzy reptiles. No disrespect to reptiles, but they're like scuzzy reptiles that shed their skin just a bit, just to have another one. Good morning, AJ. Good morning, Nora. Good morning. Oh, who's that? Who's that on my feed watching? Who's this Nora? Huh. Let me go ahead and let Nora excuse Nora. Block. We could do that all day. I'm sorry, I see some little agitation on Facebook. Good morning, AJ. Don't worry about the trolls. If they so busy doing great things, why are they over here? I'm not on the Overton report. I'm not at this, chill out. But no, anyway, they're like reptiles. They're trying to figure out what works. And so I see some sort of rebranding going on and leveraging of women voices. So you saw that when the white nationalists entered the whole QAnon conspiracy, anti-masker, anti-vaxxer space and made their way into our school board, our school board meetings and the harassment that we know that other school board duly elected school board members, the harassment that African-American duly elected school board members have faced. We know that they're trying to get a foothold, or they've been successful in gaining a foothold into spaces where you can find, I would say, white women, women of a certain age, QAnon believers, conspiracy theorists and whatnot. And so they're trying to, they've been successful in kind of rebranding themselves into some sort of safe, hey, we're here for the kids type of thing. And you know that also because they're planning a rally in Columbia, South Carolina, I think this weekend, the 17th. And that rally is branded it appears very innocuous. It looks very like, oh, they're just patriots, which is what they call themselves. But when you look at the core messaging and you look at the principal organizers and the principal supporters of the rally that's going to take place in Columbia, South Carolina on the 17th, you'll notice quite clearly, that they're just trying to rebrand themselves to appear less volatile. It's interesting, though, because I thought the violence was y'all jam. I thought the violence worked. I thought y'all got away with it, right? We've seen local insurrectionists brag about how they got away with it. They got away with participating in insurrection and coming back home and nothing happening to them. And then you also successful in bringing in other militias. You also were successful in bringing in the Proud Boys in the city of Charleston. Let y'all do y'all Charlottesville thing. Down East Bay from the Custom House to City Hall. The city of Charleston let y'all, touch and tag things onto City Hall. Like I was working. It was working for you, right? Yep. So I don't know. Jesus turned water into wine. Oh my God, what is this? There we go. This is crazy. I'm getting crazy comments on Twitch. But anyway, good morning, Honor Marks on Facebook. All right. Oh yeah, they're somewhat, I don't know about polished. What's another word for polished that doesn't really mean polish? They're just they're rinsed. They rinsed off some of the grime, dust, dirt. They just rinsed it off and put on a cheap polo shirt from Walmart. But they're not polished. I wouldn't use that word. Hey B-Man, good morning. All these people calling themselves patriots need to look up the definition. Right. They're nationalists. They're white nationalists. And I think people, and that's the thing, like, I want to make something quite clear. The white women who've now flanked these white nationalist groups here in both the Low Country and throughout South Carolina, I've always said this on my across all my social media. And if you're not really invested in understanding what I'm saying beyond saying white women, white women will get offended. But the ones that understand what I'm trying to say is that, so there's a thing where we masculinize, we like to assign white nationalist tendencies. We like to make this correlation that, white nationalist means male, when white women have always participated in white nationalist terror. White women have always used their white womanhood, their tears, their frailty. They've always weaponized that in those spaces. Not all white women, y'all, but we know that there is a tradition and a practice of white women leveraging their femininity, or leveraging, just like, people just don't think they're a threat. They don't deem them a threat typically, right? They've leveraged that, especially in this white nationalist space. And so what I see happening with, good morning, Kia. What I see happening with the white nationalists that participated in the insurrection, I'm seeing them knowing that, understanding the power of having white women to as some sort of shield to make your causes look a little bit more benign, even though you are spewing hate speech, even though you are anti-science, and even though you are anti-black and vehemently racist. No matter how many times, y'all can tell I'm trying not to say names today because I just want to tread lightly. Like, I got smoke when I got smoke, but let me chill out real quick. But you know who I'm talking about, right? The dude, I call him the whack-a-mole, how he just keeps changing himself. You know, first he's a Confederate enthusiast, now he's a Proud Boy, and then, you know, all that other stuff he tries to confuse folks with. But they know the power of people. Oh, it's just a bunch of moms at a rally, and we're gonna have kids in cornhole as we spew hate speech, as we as they, I'm saying we as that's how they speak, as they spew hate speech, and as they also revel in conspiracies, at the traffic in conspiracy theories that are steeped in white supremacist terror. But let me go ahead and change the view up and stop talking so much. And this is the reporting I referenced earlier. So shout out Avery Wilkes, friend of Mic'd Up. I know that for sure. Friend of Mic'd Up. He let me interview him way back when, my little fledgling Ohm Radio COVID-19 updates, recording it in the closet, in the closet on a rural part of South Carolina. Let me see what y'all saying in chat here. Shiny turd. Jonick James, that's apropos. Good job. Exactly. They're not polished. They're just like rinsed off. Right? Okay. Polishing a turd, right? Ugh. Whew. That's an interesting visual. All right. So this is the article. And I really do encourage you all to please grab your library card or whatever app you want to grab and gain access to whatever you can do to get around that paywall and democratize the news. Whatever you can do to get your hands on this story. I think this is worth a read. This right here. So I did not finish this, but I found this to be quite interesting. Again, if Avery's on it, I'm going to pay particular attention to it. So conspiracy theories, conspiracy theories, Trump led SC residents to storm the Capitol. Friends turned them in. Yeah, I mean, what you want, see what the headline does do though? Avery's reporting. Yeah, Avery's reporting would make you want to, unfortunately, I mean, like, white Al Qaeda. I see you, Kia. But yeah, Avery's reporting, Steve Garrison's reporting has been strong. Thad Moore has had some really good, strong reporting on various things. But I will say this headline, to me, I don't know if Avery had any input with his headline. This lets them off the hook. I think a lot of times the way we frame news around either hate speech or how we frame news in this state and in this area specifically, especially post Dylan Roof, which really boggles my mind, right? This reinforces a lot of, to me, dangerous concepts, right? There are headlines that reinforce that lone wolf mythology that we know not to be true, right? Dylan Roof was not a lone wolf, because we know that there are so many groups here who are active in this state who believe in what Dylan Roof believed in, who espouse similar points of views that Dylan Roof believed in. So there is no lone wolf, right? Here it says conspiracy theories and Trump. And this is where we get in trouble. We think now that Trump's not in office, then okay, white supremacy or white nationalist terror is not an issue, right? And that's not the case. Conspiracy theories, like, these people are not being led astray. These people are making choices. These are adults making choices. And now some folks have gotten caught up into some sort of cult-like activity, but we can't keep letting people who participate in white nationalist terror, we can't keep letting them off the hook and almost painting them as victims of a circumstance, victims of whatever. It's to me, it's not only inaccurate, it's dangerous. But I'm just gonna say that about the headline. I don't really think that that's too strong of a reflection of the reporting here. So this, and we saw this on the news. I think I glossed over this real quick last week or something like that. I know when it broke initially, I definitely covered it real quick. So it says Nicholas, is it Landagard? A 26-year-old Little River resident is accused of throwing objects at police as they defended the Capitol, right? He was arrested on April 15th. So we'll read a little bit from this, and then we're going to hop over to YouTube, because one video that I wanted to reference last week, I didn't, and it was really good. I watched it 2 times from the New York Times. The New York Times has done even more expansive reporting on the January 6th riots at the Capitol, right? They've done an amazing job. We've already seen a video compilations from various national news outlets like Washington Post and all the major, like the major 4 networks, CBS, ABC, Fox, and NBC. But this latest video from the New York Times, which is over 30 minutes long, I believe, we won't be able to watch the entire video, but I'm going to encourage you all to just hop on YouTube and watch it at your convenience, okay? All right, so it says FBI agents surrounded the 3-bedroom home in Little River just before dawn. Search warrant in hand, chasing a troubling tip to this quiet beach town a few miles below North Carolina border. This man is unstable and needs to be detained, the tipster warned. Okay. All right. Investigators with FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force scoured the makeshift bedroom of Nicholas Landagard. Y'all tell him that. All right. A 26-year-old man who had moved in with his grandparents just weeks before. That's a sad picture, but among his belongings, they found a familiar set of clues, QAnon stickers, memorabilia, Enric Proud Boy, and, far-right cult heroes. See, is that a far-right cult? At least they said, okay, a cell phone containing photos of white nationalist symbols. That's important to have that language, y'all, the explicit language that says white nationalist, whatever paraphernalia that, that might include. But Enrique Tarrio is a white nationalist. I know he's brown and it kind of trips people up. But you can be a brown white nationalist. You can be brown and anti-black. You can be black and anti-black. Hello, Black MAGA in North Charleston, right? All right. Hello, Maurice Washington. All right. QAnon prophecies and 9/11 conspiracy theories. Yeah. And I think the conspiracy theory angle gets a lot of folks really tripped up because, again, I think they want to pity people who fall down this rabbit hole, if you will, but they're making choices. The thing about conspiracy theories, to some degree, I'm not an expert on this. I'm not an expert. To some degree, I feel like people end up following conspiracy theories because they want to reject what we all know to be true. They are running from what the larger messages or maybe more consistent messaging or mainstream messaging about what we know to be facts, like the vaccines are safe and masks help reduce the rate of infections in certain areas, and climate change is very real, the ocean was just on fire, right? Like I think some folks just want to ideologically not believe it, and they're just seeking refuge. So that's why I'm trying to reiterate, it's a choice. I feel like some people land into these areas because they're seeking certain types of communities that reinforce their biases or biases, that reinforce their prejudices, to me. So that's why I don't want to remove their agency and act as if they were duped, they were fooled. They made choices. They were looking for what's the saying they used to always say? Play stupid games, win super prizes. Like, you're looking for it, because I'm a firm believer in usually the simplest answer is probably the correct answer. And I think some folks just really are reluctant to embrace reality because they want their biases reinforced, right? So it goes on to talk about the federal prosecutors say the evidence helps them explain what possessed to hitch a ride to Washington D.C. and join the January 6th and join a mob that stormed the U.S. Capitol, briefly stopping Congress from certifying Democrat Joe Biden as the winner of the 2020 election. I wanted to go down in this article, y'all, because there's some interesting pictures. So you're placing him at the scene of the crime. I wonder if they got any rainbow flags or rainbow Gadsden flags in the mix. So you know who that belongs to, right? So the Post and Courier examined hours of court testimony from these cases, nearly 900 pages of legal filings. That analysis points to clear takeaways about who the Capitol rioters are. So just want to look directly in the camera and say, it's not Antifa. It ain't Antifa, y'all. Let me go to the chat over here on Twitch. Q says, no, it's worse since you're talking about with Trump. It's been worse since he's been out of office. It does feel worse. And that's the other part, Kia, you're not wrong. So we already know that, white nationalists are embedded in our military. White nationalists are embedded on our police forces. White nationalists are embedded within the FBI and other government agencies. We know that. We can just, that's not conspiratorial. That's something that's backed by even history. We know that to be true. We know how the FBI has been used to surveil Black people. We know things like COINTELPRO existed, right? And that's clearly a white nationalist. That clearly had a white nationalist agenda. So it's not a stretch for Kia to assert that, hey, the FBI has been infiltrated. And that also leads me to believe that that's why we're 6 months out and we still counting on two hands. It feels like 2 hands you can count how many people from South Carolina are indicted. And I'm like, yo, they took the FBI already said that there was an entire caravan that met up in Columbia and left from South Carolina, an entire caravan. And we know you, family out there who watch this live stream every day, y'all know people personally who participated in insurrection and then took their asses over to King Claw Juicy Seafood and Bar and, made a little clown car and it's out here antagonizing and terrorizing folks and taking pictures of youth and all that. We know that they participated in there, right? Anyway, let me look at Same Facade. Also seeking to be special, right? To have access to exclusivity, exclusive groups. Oh, so you're talking about when I said people are seeking alternate information or alternative facts, as Kellyanne Conway would say. But yeah, they are seeking alternative facts. But yeah, also they want to, Same Facade, to that point. I've been reading about that. They want to also. There's a white van outside my window, and I'm like, they also want to feel like they have special access to special information. It's coded, right? And it's really, it sounds laughable, but it's serious because it's dangerous. And that's the whole phenomenon behind QAnon, right? Especially, with those trends that we've seen in particular within the wellness scene here in Charleston. Shout out to y'all, put me on to the Pastel Q. Right? They want to feel special and feel like they have special access to special information. Getting back to Avery Wilkes's article here, or his writing, his reporting, he's telling you that he's poured over hours of video and pages and of testimony and other, and other facts and photos and whatnot. And so we've placed my boy Nicholas right there. Boom, boom. I don't know why more have not gotten caught up, right? Most of South Carolina's capital defendants have no significant criminal record. It's just white male grievance, right? All but one are men, ranging from teenagers to 40-somethings with wives, families. Yep, they're hiding in plain sight, y'all. And some of y'all know them. Few, if any, had consistent full-time employment. Oh, wow. Well, that just debunks the whole go get a job. I used to get that all the time. Go get a job. What's your job? I'm like, shut up. That's why I drove Uber too. Early on, I'm driving Uber because I could, gives you the flexibility to kind of participate in rallies and protests before I but it was just weird to always hear that. As if we don't live in a gig economy, right? Go get a job, but they don't have jobs. All right. So what I wanted to do was scroll down, and there were a number of other. So there are other linked stories that I some of them I browsed, some of them I didn't. But there's this story here. I'm just going to read the headlines for the ones that are linked within Avery's story. SE man linked to U.S. Capitol riots turns informant. Because there ain't no honor among thieves. Signs plea for threats to ex-prosecutor. So, that's the guy that was threatening. Is that the prosecutor down in Florida? Here we go. Myrtle Beach area man indicted in U.S. Capitol riots, becoming 6th from South Carolina charge. So, yeah, are we on 6 or 10 or what? And we know a whole entire caravan went. Like, I would have just looked at all the footage near the Calhoun, either the Calhoun statue or portrait or whatever Calhoun had up in there. I would have just looked at, like, because they took selfies next to Calhoun, right? Right. Let me see if there are any more headlines within here, and then we're gonna switch over to YouTube and to some videos. Let me see. There's a lot of photos here. Yeah, check it out. If you can get around the paywall, do that. The FBI says this selfie, Andrew, is it Hatley, took in front of John C. Calhoun statue. I didn't even see that. And look at me. Yep. I would just look at all the footage from that area if I were like an investigative journalist. Yeah. All right, here we know about the Citadel cadet, Army recruit, latest from South Carolina charged in U.S. Capitol riots. So it looks like Jessica Holdeman, she might be, the Columbia, perhaps, the Columbia arm of the Post and Courier. So I'll take a look at Jessica's reporting on this as well. I have not given that a close look. And here we go here. Okay, Avery wrote about this. Hanahan couple chart. Let me just click on it. I don't know why it's black. Maybe because I'm on Twitch. They don't like that I'm sharing it. So yeah, this was written last month. Okay. Federal agents have arrested Hanahan couple in connection with the January 6th riot at the United States Capitol. So Hubert Getzinger, 52. Okay, his wife Stacey Ann. Remember, these are men and women, and like they said, teenagers and 40-somethings, right? All right. Let's pop over to YouTube. I really don't, y'all know this, I don't play Trump. I don't indulge in playing Trump videos or anything like that. But I wanted to play, and some of these clips are from like 5 months old, and some of them are relatively recent. And then we want to talk about the white nationalist rally that just took place in other areas, right? So like my former place of residence, the Philadelphia area. So we saw last week, white nationalists came, and I was listening. I listened to WHYY, the public radio in Philly. I listened to that more than I listened to the ETV. Sorry, not sorry. But anyway, I was listening because I definitely wanted to hear about this white nationalist group that came, and they were at Penn's Landing. I'm like, what the hell? Like, what's going on? And so and actually that was eye-opening from the black gentleman who initially captured the group. He was just driving home from dinner, captured the group with his phone and got out and engaged the group. And then more and more residents from the city started to kind of come out and push it back against that hate group. I wish we would have seen that in December with the Proud Boys here, but anyway, I digress. But so in Philadelphia, I could just play it. Let me let Yuki talk about it, right? I'll let him do it. But let's stay in South Carolina for a second. This is, let me see. Well, this is just let's just go ahead and watch this again. We watched this already on a previous live stream, but this again, we just talked about Nicholas and Avery Wilkes reporting. So let's just watch it one more time.
Another South Carolina man has been arrested in connection to the deadly attack on the U.S. Capitol in January. Court documents unsealed today show Nicholas Longren. He's facing several charges, including assaulting or impeding an officer, using a dangerous weapon, and disorderly conduct on Capitol grounds. Those same documents say a man resembling Longren can be seen throwing objects at law enforcement.
You know, that was interesting. You know, when that unfortunate decision was made by WCBD to platform, I won't say his name today because I don't want it. But when WCBD decided to platform a white nationalist terrorist that got dunked on by Moya, R.I.P. Moya, you know, that's one thing he was definitely focused, and he wanted you to know that he was anti-police. And again, I'm going to say this again for all the see, there's anti-police, and then there are abolitionists. I'm an abolitionist, right? I'm not anti-government, anti-authority. I'm an abolitionist. I don't believe in our carceral state. I don't think our justice system is just. I don't think the way it's designed brings about justice. I don't believe it repairs anyone. It definitely doesn't rehabilitate anyone. And I think that the way we go about sentencing folks and putting them in pens like animals, it only serves to exacerbate certain issues, certain societal issues, right? So I'm an abolitionist, and there are core beliefs and values that I subscribe to. Insurrectionists, like the ones that were platformed, unfortunately, by WCBD in the news package that I was included in, they are anti-government, they are anti-authority. And so I know there are a lot of younger activists who get a little confused here. I've seen it in real time. Get confused when they see a Boogaloo boy in Hawaiian shirt saying, no, we're with you. We're F the police. And I'm like, no. They're F the government. They're pro militia. They're taking it back to Plymouth Rock and shit. Like they're not what you want, dude. Like that's not the flavor you want to be like. That ain't that, right? And a lot of folks are just not making that distinction. And as you just heard in this quick clip, I know I'm talking a lot, but just like you just heard, they attack the police at the Capitol. Like that is part of their mission, is to overthrow government and to overthrow any authority. They are under the impression that any form of authority is a tyranny or it goes against the Constitution. It's very convoluted thinking. And so we have to make those distinctions. And when we see I would never sit up here and tell folks to hurt police, to take shields, to harm anyone, let alone a police officer, right? As much as I can stand police and what they do and how they lie and how they are corrupt and how our system is corrupt and how it originated from slave patrols right here in the Carolina colonies, right? As much as I know all that and detest the practice of policing in America, I would never advocate for violence against police, right? Outside of like basic self-defense, stuff like that, right? But these insurrectionists will definitely tell you that they hate the police and that they want to hurt the police. And that's why it's so weird to me that why are folks that are Black Lives Matter adjacent, why are they getting so much scrutiny and why are they being surveilled so heavily? Meanwhile, the very factions that want to kill you are allowed to just walk down East Bay and just be like, yeah, what's up, right? Good morning, D. Good morning. All right, so that's Nicholas Longard. Did I say it right? All right, let's go to the next video. Let's see. Let's look at all their faces.
A South Carolina man has been charged for his involvement in the Capitol riot. The arrest warrant claims William Robert Norwood III entered the U.S. Capitol building and stole government property. Text messages included in the warrant show Norwood claiming that he attacked 4 Capitol police officers and stole one of their tactical vests. Norwood is being held.
They are so brazen, they don't give a damn. They're gonna text this. You gonna put it on. You gonna I ain't writing shit like that. I don't care if I'm on Signal. I don't care what encrypted app I'm on. I am not doing that. Let's go ahead and play the greatest hits, y'all. Let's go.
County facing federal charges for taking part in the Capitol riots.
Now, tonight, Fox 46 is breaking down the evidence laid out against them. One of them is the son of a well-known soap opera actor. Fox 46's Derek Dellinger live in York County, and Derek, authorities released pictures they say show the men inside the Capitol during the riots.
Yes, and those pictures come from the FBI as well as 2 news and photo outlets as well. Authorities say people familiar with the men's work in the Civil Air Patrol, they are the ones that came forward. And there was also a family member that even said one of the suspects was there. Earlier tonight, we had a chance. Fox 46 chief legal correspondent Seema Iyer had the chance to speak with the lawyers. Tonight, we were putting what they had to say into context. In this video from The New Yorker, pay attention to the man here in the red and the man in the brown winter cap. Federal officials say those 2 men are from York County, and they were just 2 of the many that took part in the events at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. The evidence is joined by security footage, which they say point to Elliot Bashai of Fort Mill and Elias Irizarry of Rock Hill.
He was just arrested this morning.
James Boyd is the lawyer for Irizarry.
He is a suitable student.
Okay.
with no prior record.
But he's a student now facing federal charges and a critical look from a military university.
They all somebody's baby now. They all somebody's baby.
The FBI says people associated with Irizarry and Bashai's Civil Patrol Unit pinpointed them after authorities released images of the attack on the Capitol.
Hopes to serve his country and is planning to go in the U.S. Army.
Okay, fake background. Okay. I'm gonna pop out because I don't want to hear a bunch of lawyers talk about how great they are, how patriotic they are, as we literally are watching footage of them break windows and jump into federal buildings. Did we watch this already? Let me see. Yeah, we just watched that. Let me see. So I also I definitely want to, oh, this is kind of new. This was newer. Was this new? No. This right here got me. So this was WCBD. This was from like right after the insurrection. And I don't understand. Like, so when reporters, this is my biggest gripe, like almost with every news story, it doesn't even have to be about extrajudicial killings of Black people at the hands of the police. It doesn't even have to be about anything that serious. Local reporters here in South Carolina, but specifically, do y'all ask follow-up questions? Like, is there a policy that I'm just not aware of where y'all are afraid to, like, do y'all ask questions of people? Like, because this is from right around the time of the insurrection. So I guess because he looks like Howdy Doody, that's an old reference.
Carolina man is back home after being in.
That's a real old reference. Let me bring it back because I know let me not sound decrepit. We already know that I'm a geriatric millennial. I guess because he looks like not Phineas and Ferb. That's even old too. I don't know.
Carolina man is back home after being in Washington the day of the insurrection on Capitol Hill. Wiley Shaw says he was visiting the White House and helping the.
So he wasn't visiting the White House. He went up there with the intention to be a part of the mix. And we know that there's a certain, I don't want to call them news outlet, but there's a certain white nationalist organizer in this area that breaks into people's cars and steals their electronics and speeds off in a shitty Xterra. We know that they often say, oh, I go and I cover things, right? Like, do we ask questions? Like, can a reporter on the scene say, I asked these follow-up questions? Like, you were just there doing what?
With the president's speech in March, he says things quickly turned chaotic, though. He says,
but he knew that. That's why he went.
SWAT vehicles started filling the streets, and they were taking.
So he had a VIP badge. Is he the one? Sometimes our news coverage boggles my mind.
Into a safe location where their charter bus picked them up. Shaw says he had no idea what was going on.
Charter bus. Follow-up questions. Who organized the charter? Where did it come? Where did you get on at? Where did you stay? Who went with you? Any family members? Any new friends? Did you fall in love? I don't know. Ask something. Again, this is older footage, but just because he's got horn-rimmed glasses and red hair doesn't mean like he's all shucks and shit.
Safe location where their charter bus picked them up. Shaw says he had no idea what was going on the Capitol.
You could see straight down the National Mall, and it was just people everywhere. Police cars trying to get there, ambulances.
Probably was coding. He probably was like coming up with all the digital marketing and shit. I don't know. We just don't ask no questions. It's probably the number one reason why I started this live stream. Not so much that I'm not a journalist, but not so much to occupy the space of a journalist, but to like at least even ask the question, like beg the question in front of y'all and see if y'all also had some of the same questions. I've just never seen, like, remember last week when we watched the Mount Laurel racist use the N-word and other really, really viciously vile racist stuff. You know, remember when we watched, you remember the reporter was asking questions and they showed a split screen or they went back and forth, and I just don't see that here. I don't see that here. It's like, are you afraid of alienating a racist? So let's take it back to, we're going to take it to Charlottesville in a second here with this MSNBC clip, but let's take it to Philly, my old stomping grounds for 10 years. and show you what took place in Philadelphia last week.
Questioning why police allowed the rally to go on for...
Let me tell you, baby. Why did the police, from what I heard on the street, police was like letting them deploy smoke bombs. The police was just letting them act a fool in Philly. That's not surprising, though.
A follow-up now to a story we first brought to you last night. A group tied to white supremacists held a rally over the weekend in Center City, Philadelphia. As Howard Monroe reports, now some are questioning why police allowed the rally to go on for so long without intervening.
It's triggering as a black person to see white supremacists parade in Philadelphia.
And that's exactly what Abdul Ali Muhammad saw
That's the one that captured. That's the guy.
A group of 200 men affiliated with the group Patriot Front marching through Center City.
We know that they are anti-Semitic. We know that they are racist. They're white supremacists. They believe that white people are the true inheritors of America, and they're trying to take it back.
Sheer Goodman is the regional.
How are white people the true inheritors of America when y'all came in, y'all killed everybody and stole the land, and then had to bring stolen people over to work the stolen land? How y'all the true inheritors? Last thing, how?
Regional director for the American Defamation League, Muhammad says when he saw the rally at about 11 Saturday night,
I see you, Ashley, in Charleston.
But
I
it
see you.
Eventually turned violent, and he says he stepped in to protect a counter-protester.
I did not expect to be pushing, shoving, fighting white supremacists. I was going to capture them on video and on photo to make sure that this was documented.
Now, this is where Muhammad says he first encountered those protesters.
I want to bring up one thing that I heard in a separate interview again on WHYY on Radio Times with Marty Moscow Wayne. He gives some other details that I don't know if they'll get to in this clip, and I'm going to get to that in a second. But let me shout out to Ashley in Charleston. I've never seen you in the Twitch chat, so I want to say what up. Good morning. You saying that two men I went to high school with posted pics at the insurrection, but they haven't been arrested because it can't be proven that they were in the Capitol. I feel like that's the tricky part, right? I know they can't literally arrest all those thousands and thousands of people who were on the steps, who were falling and flailing and, climbing the walls when the steps were just right there, right? But it's just weird that they got in no trouble at all for participating in the insurrection. So shout out to you, Ashley in Charleston. You two former high school schoolmates. Yeah, we all know who they are. And I'm gonna say shout out to some of y'all who called the FBI, who tried to float the names of the folks that I talk about too much on this platform. But anyway, B-Man, you said that even the police that aren't racist live for this shit. Yeah, they rise of the warrior cop. Shout out to Jessica. Rise of the warrior cop. They love it. And but they were letting the white nationalists get the best of civilians who didn't want them there. And my whole thing is like, why wouldn't the police, seeing what happened in Charlottesville, seeing what happened on January 6th, why wouldn't you be proactive and you loved being overly aggressive with peaceful protests when it's Black Lives Matter, right? Why can't you just show a little bit of that same, just keep the same energy for white nationalists who are literally chanting anti-Semitic slurs and other things like that, like hate speech, right? I don't understand. Violence is violence. Speech is violent. Nicole on Twitch, they said send them proof. Yeah, let me do your job. Y'all got all the damn tech. Shit, y'all know what I ate for breakfast, but you can't go and get Bobby Joe out his trailer in Greenville. Get out of here. I'm not doing your job for you.
Outside of the Holocaust Memorial on Ben Franklin Parkway. They then made their way all the way across Center City to Penn's Landing. Muhammad says
that's the insult. They started at the Holocaust Memorial in Philly. Trash.
He's surprised they were able to make it so far without police intervening.
They did absolutely nothing when they threw smoke bombs at us, when they hit people with shields, when they hit people with fists. They did absolutely.
So that's what I want to bring up, the smoke bomb. So what, again, we're seeing the local white supremacists, white nationalists. Now they've leveraged this family-friendly persona. They flank themselves with white women of a certain age, white women who are mothers to school-aged children. The rally that's being held in Columbia, South Carolina on the 17th is being billed as a family-friendly event with games and ice cream, literally games and ice cream, right? And so that's one tactic, right? So they're getting access to spaces and now appearing to be non-threatening. And also what they're trying to do is anesthetize us, essentially, so that we'll be lulled into a false sense of security. So if they do, revert back to that muscle memory of pure unadulterated violence and hate speech, and stalking and doxing, if they do revert back to that, it can be explained away. Oh, that's not who they are. Oh, I know them firsthand. They are not like that. I think it was Antifa. Like, they'll find a way to sidestep accountability, and folks will believe it, because they've now like donned themselves into this like family-friendly persona with these really cheap PK polos from Walmart. So that's one thing. But the other thing is, and this is what I think is going to happen, that reversion back to their muscle memory, they're going to do what they did in Philly, which is organize en masse, right? So, and have a certain khakis and polo shirt. We've seen this in Charlottesville. They're going to do that, and they're going to deploy smoke bombs or something that will not just disorient, but something that will conceal the actual violence that they'll visit upon the bodies of people who don't want them in their town. So probably cut him off before he said it, but they use some sort of smoke bomb to hide the violence that they then enacted on the counter protesters that arrived to push them out of Philadelphia, right? Over here on the Twitch chat, D, you said you saw an interview with who I think was in Philly police, was the Philly police chief, and he said the counter protesters were deploying the smoke bombs. They were not. They weren't deploying the smoke bombs. The white supremacists were, from what he says, and he was the first one on the scene. Yeah. Kia, why did you just say White Rock Hill? Was that in response to Ashley and Charleston's earlier comment? Apparently they've investigated by the FBI, but there's no proof. Was that? Yeah. And then, Kia, you said those cops who beat up those black men in Charlotte a few weeks ago were definitely insurrectionists. I bet. Yeah, I haven't followed up on that Rock Hill story because that takes a lot. I got you, Kia. I got you. Here we go.
Nothing.
Mayor Jim Kenney's office condemned the protests and said no permits were requested or granted. And police said in a statement that they were there to make sure the march remained peaceful and no one's First Amendment rights were violated. Goodman. Okay, we got y'all. I can't remember. We had this debate in undergrad. That's how long. Is hate speech protected? Is hate speech protected by the First Amendment? Drop it in chat. All you smart people. B-Man, if you're still watching, you're smart. You're smart. You've been around the world. B-Man. I'm acting like I never left the country. B-Man, is anyone, Whiskey Neat, Kia, Google, is hate speech protected by the First Amendment? Sometimes I like to ask questions. Sometimes I like to ask questions that I know the answer to. Whether the Patriot Front was treated like other protesters.
We want to make sure that a group of white men, white supremacists who come in to do that, aren't getting any kind of special treatment, aren't getting any kind of worse treatment than anybody else who's protesting.
No one was serious.
But why is white speech and white nationalist terror, why is it treated as if it's the same as a demonstration against, a pipeline or a demonstration against police brutality? Like, why is it treated the same? I don't understand. Ashley in Charleston, she says, you say Google. Ashley, I don't know if it's what your pronouns are, so I don't want to assume. Ashley in Charleston says Google. While hate speech is not a legal term in the United States, I'm like so happy you Google this. The United States Supreme Court has repeatedly ruled that most of what would qualify as hate speech is in other Western countries is legally protected form of free speech. I still think you should get like knucked up. You should get like 2 pieces in a biscuit Look at me advocating violence. Why I shouldn't. I think, no, if you are a hate monger, you definitely can catch these hands. Like, we need to talk about representational violence, right? So violence is not just, I already say this all the time, like violence is not just physical, right? Violence can be speech and other things. So yeah, but I still think that unpermitted rallies led by white nationalist groups that have been identified by groups like maybe like the ADL and other groups, whoever you get down with, Southern Poverty Law Center, I still think those groups should be cracked down. If the police can pull over black people disproportionately and question them and surveil them and give them a hard time just for driving while black, biking while black, walking while black, jogging while black, why can't you just like start peppering a bunch of insurrectionists and a bunch of white nationalists with a bunch of questions? I don't understand. Why can't you do that? If my wholesome twin brother can get pulled over by the police disproportionately in Chicago, my pastor brother can get pulled over. The most wholesome person I know on the planet. If he can get harassed by the police, why can't khaki wearing insurrectionists and white nationalists get harassed by the police? I don't understand. Let's go to Charlottesville.
It was coming down today in Charlottesville.
This made me happy. I know this made some insurrectionists and some white nationalists mad, especially in Charlottesville. I'm surprised. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I thought some of them statues already came down after the Unite the Right rally, but I was sorely mistaken.
We have breaking news to share out of Virginia. A third statue is coming down today in Charlottesville after the city held an emergency meeting today. Let's go to NBC's Dion J. Hampton, who's joining us from Charlottesville. So, Dion, what's going on? We had 2 down, taken away. What are we hearing about this latest development?
Hey, Rajon, my
so
chat wasn't loaded.
It's just a second day of surprises. You know, council members yesterday all of a sudden announced that they were going to remove the 2 Confederate monuments here in downtown, or I should say in the heart of Charlottesville, but now breaking news in the last hour.
Hold up, he sound mad regular. I ain't mad at that, right? We reject white supremacy, so I like people who sound like my cousin and them. Hold up, let me rewind that. And sorry, Facebook, if you've been talking to me, it wasn't loading. The chat wasn't loaded. Good morning, Nicole. Good morning, Rajon. Good morning. Saw your comments a little late. I got you on the Twitch chat. But yo, this reporter seemed mad. Like comfortable. Let's see this again.
Emergency meeting today. Let's go to NBC's Dion J. Hampton, who's joining us from Charlottesville. So, Dion, what's going on? We had 2 down, taken away. What are we hearing about this latest development?
What's going on, Dion?
Yeah, so honestly, it's just a second day of surprises. You know, council members yesterday all of a sudden announced that they were going to remove the 2 Confederate monuments here in downtown, or I should say in the heart of Charlottesville, but now breaking news in the last hour or so, all of a sudden the Lewis and Clark and Sacagawea statue is all of a sudden being removed. Council members met on a Saturday.
Sacagawea? Wait. Let me read. You saw him on Saturday, kid. I'm like, is this local? I'm like, no shade. I do believe that media you shouldn't have to sound like those really like artificially professional voices. I don't think that always to me signals credibility. Like, I don't mind relatability at all in media. I think we need more of it. I think we need a little less code switch here and there, and a little more accents, more black sense, more AAVE. I'm with it, as long as it's not pandery and performative and crazy, right? I'm with it, because you do want to get the news and information without being distracted by some foolishness. But bruh just seems a little caught off guard, is what I'm saying. It's almost like the other NBC affiliate, like, it just was indisposed at the moment. And like, yo, Dion, I know you usually do the camera work, but like we need you on camera, yo. Dion, come out the van, yo. That's what it feel like. No shade, Dion. I know you hardworking, bruh. I know you working hard, bruh. And you know how to say Sacagawea. I know I mess up words, but I would have got that right.
In an emergency meeting, unbeknownst to the media who was already here. Crews are already blocking off streets. Officers are already getting a handle on the traffic. And they're right now, or at least in the last 30 minutes, starting to remove that statue, which is the 3rd controversial statue, that's being taken away here. I want to point out one thing, though, that there's a young woman out here, Mrs.
Sorry. I'm sorry, Kia. Hold on, let me read the chat on Twitch because y'all are lighting it up. Hold up, let me go up some. First, okay, thanks. Shout out to you, Ashley, again for giving us the Google definition of what's protected. We know that hate speech is protected, but you still can get two-pieced up. Same facade. What did you say later on? They would have to say something that crosses into a threat. Okay, or assault. Okay, so inciting violence, that's not protected. Gotcha. Violent speech that is trying to incite. Okay, got it. All right, Dr. Claw 77, you said why it's seen as the same. Why is it seen as the same? Because white supremacist capitalist system sees corporations as people. You're not lying. I never can pronounce your handle. Is it iCool? iCool J? You can drop it phonetically if you want. The whole second half of last year and over the policing and violence by police against BLM and justice activists in contrast. It is a contrast, right? It's like night and day, right? So like the uprisings that took place during the summer, the George Floyd protests, and now contrast that against what we saw on January 6th and other things that spilled over here, December here in Charleston, with the Proud Boys coming here without much resistance from local police or local government. In fact, we had our elected official participate or be scheduled to participate in the rally led by white supremacists. Let me go down. All right, I'll take this any day. I will take it. It's just making me laugh. Okay, L, I got you. Okay, I got you. Thank you. KCJ18. This isn't his normal job. I don't think so. I will stop messing with him. I want Dion to be on camera more. Because we are all Dion. I am Dion. I'm definitely
Brian. 5 years ago, she was 16-year-old student in high school, and all of a sudden she had came up with a.
Okay, he reading something, but this is making me distracted. So I'm gonna go back over to the video that I urge you all to watch from the New York Times. It was posted to at least I saw it on here on YouTube last week, and that's when it was posted. But I thought this was, and there've been, like, you see this video, well, they're talking about the New York Times coverage here, but this has been like the most, and it's too long to watch on Twitch, but the most comprehensive like breakdown of what took place on January 6th. So I'm gonna play that. Yeah, and I was just joking about Dion. I like Dion. I like him. I just think he was caught off guard. Something happened behind the scenes that we weren't privy to. And he's like, get ready. You gotta stay ready so you don't have to get ready though, Dion. I know. Hold on. Here we go.
Most are ordinary.
Let me rewind this. You see me, Nicole. Good morning.
To the flag of the United States of America.
Hey, Quacho.
For which it stands, one nation.
On some serious. Let me switch gears.
Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
They came from all 50 states. Out of some sense of patriotic duty.
It's so much more than just.
Real quick, Justin, you'd be the same. I'd be the same. I start improvising. I would pull somebody over to just talk about what happened. Though I would be the same way on camera. We are all Dion. Yes. All right, let's get back to this. Look at this caravan. I bet you this is what the caravan from Colombia looked like.
Rallying for President Trump. It's really rallying for our way of life, the American dream, against fake news.
To protest an election they believed had been stolen.
It's so sad.
We're here, Patriots. We're in Washington, D.C. Capitol building dead in front of us.
Their day of action would be January 6th, when Congress would count electoral ballots and ratify the 2020 election results.
Yeah, my skin's crawling.
For some, it was just a rally for their president. For others, it was a call to arms.
That Confederate flag always on the scene.
March on Congress directly after Trump's speech.
Wow.
In the weeks beforehand, there were over 1 million mentions on social media of storming the Capitol. Maps were shared of the building's layout.
Come on.
There was talk of bringing weapons and ammunition.
This was all known
and discussion
by
over which
local law
lawmakers
enforcement
should be targeted first.
Wow.
This anger was based on a lie.
This election was a fraud.
A lie that had grown more frenzied after the election.
President Trump won this election.
They were flipping votes.
Steal the election in Philadelphia.
When you win in a landslide, and they
steal the election in Atlanta,
and it's rigged.
Steal the election in Milwaukee.
It's not acceptable.
You know what? I oftentimes when I read books and read the history of like how Reconstruction came to an end, I always like, how did the most progressive moment in American history, how did it come to an abrupt end? And then when you read about it, it happened like this. It happened with bloodshed and terror and white lies and blatant white lies and lies that everyone knew were lies, but they were on TV. You've got Newt Gingrich, which disgusting political values, but never thought that he would like go out on a limb and just like stand behind the insurrection like that. Newt Gingrich and all those other people that got sued by Dominion and the other companies. And I just like, this is how every time there was some movement forward for Black, brown people in this country, the violent white lash was so severe. And when you think about what came after slavery, you think about convict leasing, when you think about kidnapping Black children because they were orphans and making them, sentencing them to a life of servitude or a life on the chain gang, when you think about Jim Crow and Jane Crow, and you think about the violent lynchings and the bloody terror that just ran rampant throughout the country. That's why things like Jim Crow happened after the Civil War, after the Union won. And then also Union, Grant, a lot of apologists for Confederates, for the planter class, sought out to restore the planter class to prominence, sought out to give reparations to the very men who waged war against your government. And so we're seeing it here. These people, these men and these women and these teenagers waged war against their country, and then they were rewarded with prominence, fundraisers, GoFundMes, not getting prosecuted, not being arrested, not being investigated, right? Some of them have gotten even more credibility, have increased their profiles publicly. And it's like history happening right over again. Back over here on Facebook, Rajon, back to Dion. You said it looked like a last minute call. It did. Shout out to Dion. It did, Quadro. Please talk about the cop in Rock Hill that got arrested. All right, so tomorrow I'm going to do that. Tomorrow I'm going to do that because that was on it, but I wanted to cue this up because I let it linger and I want to keep our focus. Tomorrow I will talk about the Rock Hill developments for sure. What's their way of life exactly, AJ? And for clarity, it's only results of the presidential election that's being contested, right? Precisely that, right? That's enough for me to know that this is racist. Exactly. It's not like they're not contesting other like things. I can't click on that link. I don't think I can. Let me see. Ashley, but yeah, it's only the presidential election that's really that got them up in a frenzy for sure. Vanity Fair, private jet, rich Trumpers wanted. Yeah, I think I read that story too. Thank you, Ashley and Charleston. Thank you. Let's keep playing it real quick.
This is outrageous.
But tomorrow we'll follow up on the Rock Hill story for sure.
Spread by the president and his closest allies.
Let's call out cheating when we find it.
Some of whom stoked calls for violence.
All hell is going to break loose tomorrow.
Everyone's going to remember who actually stands in the breach and fights tomorrow and who goes running off like a chicken.
We bleed freedom.
This will be their Waterloo.
And we will serve.
I mean, this ain't nothing but a big old grift, y'all. This ain't nothing but a big old grift. Like, they are making so much money off people's fears. It almost like those predatory, like, prosperity preachers. Those prosperity preachers who just really they know folks are vulnerable, emotionally vulnerable, perhaps in bad places, psychologically or emotionally, and they prey upon their flock and they tell them that, God told them that they needed a jet to fly around the country, and God told them that they needed $1 million house. That's what this is. They know people want to believe this. They know people want to believe this with all their heart and soul, and they are just fleecing these folk. I do not have any sympathy for them. Get all your money took. Get all your money took. Go ahead, Bobby Joe. Go ahead. Get all your money. Brandy Lee, y'all get all your money took. Because that's what you deserve. For real, for real. It's ridiculous.
Sacrifice for freedom.
This will be their destruction.
No, it won't.
What happened next was chaos.
Look at that.
Insurrection. Death. Then there began a campaign to whitewash history.
Now this is what's going on
starting
now.
at the top.
It was a zero threat right from the start. It was.
So we heard Trump. Let me back out real quick. So that's what we've seen. Like, this was on Politico. This was published within the last day or so. So this is the headline from Politico. Trump on January 6th insurrection. These were great people, right? Former President Donald Trump on Sunday widely praised those who attended the January 6th rally that preceded the insurrection. So this is what he said at CPAC, y'all. Right? So this is the whitewashing of history in real time. In real time.
Zero threat.
And spreading throughout the Republican Party.
Even calling it an insurrection, it wasn't. By and large, it was peaceful protests.
One lawmaker.
It's crazy. And look at this lawmaker. He was right there and witnessed it. Look how racism and white supremacy, look how it moves in real time, y'all. Look at it. This is a lawmaker. He's right there. He sees people cowering, trying to get to safety. He sees guns drawn. Look at this.
Who helped barricade the House doors now suggests there was barely any threat.
If you didn't know the TV footage was a video from January the 6th,
that's crazy.
You would actually think it was a normal tourist visit.
A tourist visit? This was not.
I said the WWE for sure. I was just thinking that, Kia. Y'all are funny. WWF.
As part of a 6-month investigation,
WWF.
The New York Times has collected and forensically analysed thousands of videos, most filmed by the rioters themselves. We obtained internal police radio traffic.
What line?
And went to court to unseal police body cam footage.
Ooh, I hope they
Our
do that down here.
reconstruction shows the Capitol riot for what it was. A violent assault encouraged by the president on a seat of democracy
Nelson
that he
Nicole,
vowed
I got
to
you
protect.
on that last comment.
We'll chart how police leaders failed to heed warnings of an impending attack, putting rank-and-file officers in danger. We'll track key instigators in the mob, taking advantage of weaknesses in the Capitol's defences to ignite a wave of violence that engulfed the building. We'll show for the first time the many simultaneous points of attack and the 8
I didn't know
breaches
there was so many
of what
breaches.
appeared to be an impenetrable institution of government.
I didn't lie, y'all. I didn't know it was 8 breaches. I don't know. I knew it was multiple, but I didn't know were 8 breaches.
Show how the delay to secure Congress likely cost a rioter her life, and how for some, storming the Capitol was part of the plan all along.
No, what caused the rioter her life was that she thought she was bigger and badder than government. She thought she was bigger and badder than a bullet. She also thought probably being a white woman would absolve her, would protect her from catching one. And I'm not trying to be gruesome or grim about anyone's death, but it wasn't just the slow reaction. Again, let's stop removing the agency from these insurrectionists who plan to get in that building, who plan to arrive to Washington, D.C. with armor, with strategy, with military training, with weapons, with zip ties. They planned this. Let's stop removing their. I know that sounds very like, Mika, you splitting hairs, you're being nitpicky. I'm not. I don't know what this knee-jerk reaction is to, like, oh, this cost her life. No, she chose, she knew. They used war rhetoric. I believe was a veteran from the military. They knew, they came there prepared for war. They wore helmets. She was shoulder to shoulder with other people in armor. She knew what it was about. You don't go to a rally in armor unless you know, oh, we about that smoke. We gonna be here and we gonna take it by force. She was jumping through a window that had been compromised, that had been pierced by violent insurrectionists. Let's stop with costing her life. Like, no, she cost her own life. She made choices. Is that, like, for real? I don't know. I get real mad at that. I don't know why it sets me off.
In fact, tomorrow
they built gallows.
Like man, be arrested. Well, let's not say. We need to go. I'll say it. We need to go in to the Capitol.
Go.
Let's go.
They made some of the
It's
people.
the morning of January 6th. And thousands are filling the National Mall in Washington. Trump will speak here at the Ellipse, a large park near the White House and a half-hour walk to the US Capitol, where the election will be certified.
Yeah. I didn't know it was that long of a distance.
Most are ordinary citizens who believe Trump's lie that the election was stolen.
It's going to be a great day. It's going to be wild, as Trump says.
But we also see more extreme groups who've gained a following during Trump's presidency. There are followers of the QAnon conspiracy,
Drinking their blood, eating our babies.
who believe that Trump is facing down a cabal of Satan-worshipping pedophiles. Q posts often invoke notions of patriotism and predict a coming storm.
I see you,
and
Nelson
ahead of
Nicole.
January 6th, some supporters call for violence. The Oath Keepers, a far-right paramilitary group, are also here.
We have men already stationed outside D.C.
Their leader has said the group is ready to follow Trump's orders
mess.
and take members of what they call the deep state into custody. They're organised, staging their military-style equipment neatly on the ground. And later, they put on body armour.
Look at that.
Talk on radios.
Oh, they got caught
and
up.
Chat with their supporters on a walkie-talkie app called Zello.
We have a good group. We got about 30, 40 of us. We're sticking together and sticking to the plan. Y'all, we're 1 block away from the Capitol now. I'm probably going to go silent when I get there because I'm going to be a little busy.
That sounds like a woman's voice.
Another group is the Proud Boys. They're far-right nationalists who flash white power signs throughout the day.
Check out all this testosterone.
Look familiar, y'all? Y'all
They
remember
became
that?
a household name when Trump invoked them during a presidential debate.
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by.
CPD.
And that's what they did.
CPD, I know y'all watching.
They have a history of street violence
Remember that?
and will be key instigators of the riot. We'll return to them soon.
The hell?
Although the rally is billed as a political protest, some make calls to storm the Capitol even before Trump speaks.
So many women. So many women.
It's that direction.
And later, when Trump does take the stage,
We're going to walk down to the Capitol.
some hear his words as a call to action.
You'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength and you have to be strong.
Invade the Capitol building.
Do the right thing.
Take the Capitol.
Yeah, I think too, like, of course Trump is the I guess the, what do you call it? Something explosive, that the combustible element or ingredient, right? That set this off. But we have to understand too, this is part of the larger white male grievance. And I know I'm saying white male grievance, but there's a white grievance too. But we know that this is bigger than Trump. And then when you hear them say things like invade the Capitol, take the Capitol, being that far from this, it's in real time, right? It just continues to reinforce the idea that they've been plotting and planning and strategizing about this for quite some time. And that it's not just about Trump. It's something that they wanted. Trump fuels them. Trump is the accelerant that has fueled this desire to want to show up like this and to want to enact violence and to want to appear and feel powerful and in control of outcomes, because they're not. And I think this is where I'll get a little kitchen table psychologist. I don't know if that's the right. This is where I'll get a little, like, I guess, common sense. Like, capitalism. I'm gonna curse too. I see you, Quadro, on Facebook. I'm gonna curse a little bit. Capitalism fucks us all up. Like, no one is immune to what capitalism can wrought, right? What capitalism has wrought. No one's really immune, right? And so a lot of working class folk, a lot of blue collar folk, they feel disenfranchised. They feel powerless. And unlike people like maybe my mom and my dad or my uncles or my cousins who just, retreat to the confines of community, to church, to groups, to, family and friends, some folks seek outlets like this, and some folks who are prone to violence, and some folks who subscribe to white supremacy, they seek out this mess. So like you can tell that they feel powerless, and there's like a little corner, and I don't mind admitting this, because I don't want to dehumanize these folks, even though they're acting like animals, and this is the worst of humankind, right? But we know humankind is capable of a lot of really bad things. But there is, as a human, I can identify with that powerlessness and this desire to want to be a part of this group to try to change outcomes for me, for my family, for my community, to bring back coal, to bring back the good old days where white people were represented and only represented in media and we had access to, they're the only ones that had access to loans and to wealth and to upward mobility. I know you all want those things, but capitalism, baby, it's capitalism. It ain't the immigrant. It ain't the immigrant down the street. It's not the dreamer. It's not the black guy. It's not the indigenous community. It's capitalism, baby. It's the bedrock of our government. It ain't the scary, the boogeyman you've created. It's capitalism, man. That's why you ain't got what you think you should have. That's why you work over 40 hours a week and you still can't make ends meet. It ain't nobody taking it from you. Ain't no former black president. It ain't that. It's capitalism. We in late stage capitalism. The shit is not sustainable. Not sustainable. We got 4-year degree earners shit. Some people with masters, unemployed, underemployed, piecing together several jobs just to make ends meet. Like that's capitalism. But there you go.
Over to the Capitol building.
2 hours before this, the Proud Boys were already heading for the Capitol. They're clearly spoiling for a fight with far-left agitators
Proud
like
Boys.
Antifa, who they believe are in D.C.
They're not in D.C. They didn't even come out.
But there are moments that suggest another motive.
Come on, tighten up. Tighten up, boys.
Tighten up.
Let's not fucking yell that. All right?
They're organised too. Many are marked with orange tape or hats.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys. And those are the boys marching with us. We got hidden guys everywhere.
They're wearing body armor,
Wow.
carrying baseball bats,
Oh, wow.
and using radios.
That's affirmative. Jesse, this is Tucker.
Leading them is Ethan Nordine, who's been entrusted with so-called war powers. He's joined by other well-known Proud Boys, like Joe Biggs,
I
an
see you,
organizer
Nicole.
from Florida,
Thank you, D.
Dominic Pizzola, a former Marine, and Billy Crestman. They will be among the first rioters inside the Capitol building.
Proud Boys.
As Trump is speaking, some of his other supporters also head to the Capitol.
Whose streets? Our streets! Whose streets? Our streets!
And the tone is becoming menacing.
We're gonna storm the fucking Capitol.
Yep, same
Fucking
facade.
fuckers.
Wow. Sorry, y'all, for the language.
Just ahead, officers guarding the building
I
are
don't know why I said
understaffed and
sorry.
ill-equipped for
Y'all
what's
know I
coming their
curse
way.
and-
You gotta stop us!
The building is more than 2 football fields in length, and barricades erected on the east side are defended by just a few dozen officers. The west side, facing Trump's rally, is even lighter. The fencing has been extended, and on the northwest approach only 5 officers stand guard. Around 5 also defend the southwest approach, a few more dot the lawn, and about a dozen officers are behind them.
I see you, roll of the D.
Plans to storm the Capitol were made in plain sight, but the FBI and Department of Homeland Security did not deem those threats as credible.
Yep, B-man.
Capitol Police leaders and Washington's mayor were warned at least 3 times of violent threats, but also didn't take them seriously or circulate that information. And they declined offers of security personnel from federal and other agencies.
Really?
They could have enlisted several hundred more Capitol Police for duty on January 6th, but did not.
We are taking our house!
And none of the officers on the barricades have protective gear or crowd control equipment.
Wow. I didn't know that.
As a result, the Capitol is sparsely defended.
What they thought, and I mean it just like that. What did they think?
It's 12:50 p.m. and a large group of Proud Boys is with other protesters right by the Capitol Police line.
Oh, I'm surprised I didn't hear the N-word already.
I got a feeling they believe those 5 officers are gonna stop some shit.
Joe Biggs is rallying them when he's approached by Ryan Samsel, a Trump supporter from Pennsylvania. They chat, we don't know about what. But a minute later, Samsel is the first to approach the police line.
Oh, wow.
And it's now that the protest turns violent.
Look at that. Oh, man. Oh, man.
Without hesitation,
I ain't gonna lie, I would retreat. If I was a cop, I ain't got no tactical gear, I'm retreating. I ain't got no tactical gear. I ain't sitting up there trying to hold up no fence.
A second group breaks through on another approach.
Out. Yup.
Others jump fences.
18, yup.
And now hundreds of rioters rush forward on several fronts.
D.C. is a motherfucking war zone!
Who would want war? Hold up.
Police retreat.
Who would want war? Like on some basic level, like why would you want war? Like if you even study just a second of the Civil War, why would you want to revisit that? But when you a terrorist, that's what you want. That's the outcome you want. Bloodshed. You bloodthirsty. That's crazy. Blue lives matter until they want to storm the Capitol and kill some police. I want to get to the part where there's one woman that get trampled to death.
To the Capitol building.
Not because it's funny, but because it was just like, this is what it is. Like, if y'all, because I got to hop off, but there's a part of this, because I'm telling you, I watched this like with rapt attention. I think this might be it right here. Let me skip ahead a little quick. Let me see. Because it just was sad. Oh shit. Oh shit. I'm jumping like it's here. Wow.
They struggle to subdue rioters who respond with their own chemical spray.
Oh, that's what old boy must have got hit with.
And within 30 minutes, the police already have casualties.
Multiple capital injuries! Multiple capital injuries!
This is crazy. What's up, Roland V?
This first wave of rioters battling police has paved the way across Capitol grounds.
But they
for
lost
others
the war.
To follow.
Yes, Nelson Nicole. Yes.
And after Trump finishes speaking, thousands more now fill this space.
That's bananas.
Meanwhile, inside the Capitol, Nancy Pelosi and Mike Pence have begun certifying the 2020 presidential election results. Certification will happen on both sides of the building, in the House and the Senate. And this is what the rioters want to stop. An hour into the assault, the mob is battling a police line here, along the west face of the Capitol. But that violence is now going to spread to multiple points of attack, as West Side rioters stream around the Capitol and incite the crowd on the east.
I can't stop watching this, y'all.
Here's what that crowd looks like on the east. They're aware of the siege happening on the west side, and some are emboldened by it. But up until now, they've been kept behind the barricades.
What do the older people do? Like,
then, this group from the west storms around the building and pushes right through the barriers. The police here barely put up a fight.
Look at this. I mean...
And it's now that protesters all along the east barricades surge forward.
I know when I watch this, I'm like, why are they letting them in? I think they made a business decision. Like, some of them made a business decision, like, will we stop it? It's 20 of us and it's 10,000 of them. Like, some of them made a business decision. Like, I'm trying, like, I was hot when now the ones that moved the gate for them, the ones that moved the barricades, now they trash. But some of them were just like, man, they don't pay me enough for this mess. I feel them. This gonna make oh. You just said screenplay.
Officers are overwhelmed from several directions.
Y'all, hold on 1 second. You just said screenplay. So I just found this out this weekend. So they're gonna make, I know I just stopped everything abruptly. I gotta hop off in like 4 minutes. But look at this. So I guess he adds. I swear to God. Oh my gosh, come on. Now I'm gonna have like fucking virus. All right, here we go. Oh, come on. All right, so yeah, the team behind Judas and the Black Messiah reunite for a U.S. insurrection film. So keep a lookout for this. So the team behind the Oscar-nominated film, and the Oscar winning, because old boy won the Oscar, Black Messiah reunites for an original untitled movie centered around the American political insurrection. So,
and retreat to guard Capitol entrances.
I want to get to a certain...
But these rioters believe they've been deputized by their president to stop a crime. And now they start trying to get into the building itself.
I'm gonna fast forward.
Biggs, what you gotta say? It's bullshit.
Yeah, they think this
is a
fun.
critical moment. Officers must now defend the outside and inside of the building, stretching them even further. Simultaneous events now happen that are critical to lawmakers' safety.
Look at this.
Rioters head straight for the Senate and will be at its doors in 2 minutes. Above them, the Senate is called into recess.
Pause. Protesters are in the building. Thank you.
And so he
Members
heard it,
will evacuate
and then they
down
go back
these
and later
stairs.
act like they didn't hear what was going on.
In this hallway directly overhead the rioters, Officer Eugene Goodman is sprinting to overtake them. He passes Mitt Romney, who he warns to turn around. Reinforcements
It's not funny,
are
but
following
I'm
behind.
like...
Goodman overtakes the mob, goes downstairs and intercepts them.
And Nancy Mason
He
worried about
holds them off while
Antifa?
backup arrives upstairs.
I thought it was a joke too.
Behind these rioters, and just feet
Nicole
away,
and
is an
Kia.
escape route where lawmakers and Senate staff are now fleeing. Just
Oh
one
my
officer
God.
stands guard.
Look how close that was. I didn't know. I've never
Keeping
seen
his
that.
composure, Goodman draws the mob away from that escape route to where reinforcements are waiting.
And see, I remember. All right, I gotta hop. But I remember I was laughing at. I'm like, what is? I'm like, what is this black man doing? Why is he not? And I'm like, and again, you get caught up, and that's the kind of the world we live in right now with social media. Everything we want answers. Everything we got hot takes and all that. But one thing that like you don't realize that they're making certain decisions in real time, and how close some of those lawmakers came to getting, meeting the protesters. Shout out to those who did, they felt duty bound, right? Like Eugene Goodman, they felt duty bound, and rightfully so, duty bound to protect the government and those who are lawmakers, right? I gotta go. But I'm gonna switch right now. Shout out to those who just, who did their thing. I don't know. I got a lot of feelings. It's just really complicated. But y'all go ahead and hop on YouTube and watch it. It's the New York Times. It's the most recent. Came out a week ago. So it's got a date from a week ago on it. Man, it's 30 minutes long, but like I've never seen so much of the footage and like the close-ups. They got names. They're showing you a woman who's trying to join her friends on the steps. She either passes out, is overwhelmed by the crowd. She's trampled. They just basically use her body as a bridge. Like it's like watching zombies, in a zombie movie. But it also shows you how violent, how determined white supremacy is, how determined white nationalists are, and these groups are who they tell us they are. These are hateful groups. These are groups who are violent and prone to violence. And the next time another group comes to Charleston, I am going to flip. And I'm going to start naming names. I will call out from work and do a live stream all day, calling out Luther Reynolds and whomever. If they let these hate groups come back here and march through the streets again, I am going, and it ain't about no First Amendment, nothing. If they let these groups, because I know how they apply pressure and twist the screws on left-leaning black and brown protests. If I see that shit happen again in this area, I'm going to raise holy hell in the holy city. The hotel city. All right, y'all. Let me go because it's time for work. I appreciate y'all. For last week. Y'all supported the content. Y'all did amazing. Y'all opened my newsletter. I got the craziest open rate on my newsletter. Few people unsubscribed. It's okay. Y'all can stay racist. Let me stop. No, but I got so much good response last week with all the content, a lot of good feedback. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for just watching. And if you can share anything, share it, please. Sometimes the live stream on YouTube will come up a little choppy, but sharing is caring. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow. We're gonna do a follow-up on the Rock Hill police story and figure out what's going on. Maybe Quadro will come back on that too, because I know you up in that neck of the woods. So we'll get an update, or we'll do an update on the Rock Hill. Remember the two Price brothers who were apprehended violently and viciously without guns or nothing, all for some marijuana? Get out of here. All right, y'all. Take care, y'all. Be easy.